All right, so I'm going to meet a client at Sports Social for the first time. This is our first initial meet, so I thought it would be good for you all to see some of the questions that I ask, how you kind of introduce yourself and what you do. Yeah, so check it out.
Kids find happiness and friendship through sports, art, and music.
That's awesome.
Do that through private lessons, group classes, camps, and even longer programs where kids come for like 10 to 20 hours a week for therapy, right? We're based in a method that's called applied behavior analysis.
Okay.
It's teaching kids with special needs and autism how to grow and learn new behaviors.
Gotcha.
Beyond that, we're centered around what we call these 10 cool friend values. It's things like teaching kids to push for progress or to make fun a priority in their life, create connections, and make friends, as many of our kids struggle to do. Again, we call all of that learning to be a cool friend.
Okay, that's cool.
We've been in business here for 13 years. We see about 750 students a week, kids aged 5 years old and up, most of them with an autism or special needs diagnosis, but also, and here's one of our music rooms.
Oh, sick.
Also,
Oh, that's sick.
kids that are struggling maybe just to make friends or struggling with some anxiety or depression or things like that. We have social groups where students, they come in one of our classrooms here, they'll learn a social skill like joining in or expressing your feelings. They talk about what is it, why is it important, and then they go practice it through group games and group sports. So they learn it and then do it. Mr. Austin here, we teach drums, piano, guitar, bass, voice, and ukulele.
Oh, that's nice.
We just had winter break camp this morning, so there's a board up there for camp.
Gotcha.
Here's our supervisors and managers that help support the instructors on the floor. All of our lessons and classes
Like a
start really
fish tank.
busy.
Oh, sick.
So
wow.
It's quiet now. By the time kids are out of school, it's crazy. There's 25 or so instructors here working, each with their own student or own group. Here's an example. Miss Maria here teaching. Miss Olivia over there. It's a one-on-one lesson, learning how to skateboard, ride a bike, scooter, roller skate, rock climb, play basketball, soccer, or football. How to do that thing, the very basic steps, or the advanced things like how to drop in and kick flip. And all the way to other things.
Dang.
Like I said, at the core of it, and learning to be what we call a cool friend. So students are earning these cool friend tickets as they're demonstrating those cool friend values, or like saying hi to somebody when they walk by, or giving respect and following the instructions that the instructor gave.
Gotcha.
They earn the tickets, they trade it in. It's like Dave and Buster's, but for being a cool friend.
Right. That's cool. Nah, this is amazing. How long have you all been here?
In this location since 2020.
And you have multiple locations?
Nope, just one. Yeah,
Just one?
just one for now.
Wow. Yeah.
So we're
No, I
working
could definitely see
Yeah.
this growing for sure.
So back there's got the shop. We have like graduates from our vocational program. They work at the shop, just like at a bowling alley. They hand out the skateboards and bikes and scooters and helmets.
Gotcha.
They clean all the stuff. Parents can hang out and watch up here in the bleachers. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And so it's mostly like,
We'll walk back this
you know, it's mostly kids that struggle socially. It's not.
Correct. Yeah. You know, we started as a place that was strictly for kids with autism, right? Like the field that I came from as a tutor working with kids with autism way back in the day. I skateboarded growing up, so I taught all these kids with autism how to skateboard.
Gotcha.
And then over time, we've grown to serve more than just kids with autism, but kids with, struggling to make
different
friends,
social
or maybe they just want to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Maybe they have other special needs.
Okay.
When Ryan came in, when he met with Jack and I, he was like, I don't know. I think kids are going too broad. I think you should be more specific and own that niche.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
It was different than what we were thinking, you know?
Yeah.
For me, it's like I've always wanted Sports Social to be able to make the most impact. And for me, it made sense that impact could be made on more than just those with an autism or special needs diagnosis, right? His point was, okay, but there's way more. You come in here and see. There's way more kids with autism and special needs. You don't need to go that broad. You know, you've gone too broad too soon. And yeah, we both were like, well, I think that logic makes sense. You know, that maybe that desire to help more was just, again, too broad.
Yeah, that's one of the things I have found with a lot of like small businesses, right? Like what it is that they start out with the dream of reaching as many people as they can, and in return don't even begin to touch the market that they actually could. And so like even now, like, and Ryan went through this too, because Ryan's an innovator, like visionary, Like he's one of those guys where it's like he hears a problem that you have, he can immediately think of a business that will solve it. And being a part of his team for the last 4 years, it would be like business, written down business plan, and in 30 days it should be profitable. Like that's how fast he moves. And what we learned though is that because he was good at getting it up and running and functioning and having some success, he was so quickly moved to the next thing that it was feeling like we were capping out on each business. Like, okay, we hit all of the flippers. That's all the flippers that we can kind of reach. And we even saw that on social where it was like plateauing on certain levels, right? Like the page that was mostly about real estate plateaued, it stopped growing. All of a sudden it was like struggling to grow. But it was because we were shifting attention into all these other places and trying to reach more people versus like laser focus on one thing. And in doing that, the moment that we was like, okay, stop all this other stuff and focus on this, we saw the growth again. Oh, really? Which meant that we weren't even close to the capping at what we can actually offer. So yeah, I think there's a couple things like right away that I thought of when you were telling me. It was like, one, I went through your socials and I didn't see anywhere where that was the target audience, right? We talked about like, you said some things, but it wasn't like you were targeting that, right? And then I saw some stuff where you were like also looking for like employee, like people to hire.
Right, and it's been 100% on, because a big part of our bottleneck has always been being able to find the people to be able to teach these kids. And so we said, well, let's use social media to be able to reach them. Yeah. And it's been an effective part of doing that. And so that was one of the things Ryan said too. He's like, I don't know if you can do both. Right. He said that you might struggle to speak to, a potential employee and a parent at the same time. Yeah.
But there's creative ways to do.
So if we could do both, I think we like that because we've found some really good quality people from that, and
So here's what I'll say, like, because I understand, like, I know Ryan's point is because like he's like we've gotten in that phase where it's like niche down, get specific on who you're trying to target. I understand it, but I think with this, in this case specifically, you can target both by the same piece of, or style of content. So what I mean by that is your goal, essentially, if I was instructing you on content, my goal wouldn't be to attract the kid. My goal obviously is to attract the parent, right? When you think in your mind, how do we attract parents, right? One, it's always your offers. What are you offering the kid, right? But the greatest thing to attract a parent is a testimonial, right? So a before and after, right? For instance, like one of the things we did, like my son, I got a 7-year-old, we moved from the Southwest side to Summerlin, and in one half of a school year, I immediately saw the challenges that he was facing out there versus what he was facing in this direction. And it was just because of what they prepared him for in kindergarten versus what he's experiencing now in first grade where he's being challenged. And I was like, okay, Justin, like if you can help him through this first half of the school year, he's probably going to really do really well in that second half once he understands the work that needs to be put in. If I could do a before and after of him reading first half of the school year versus him reading on the second year, everybody'd be like, okay, what did you do? How did you make this happen, right? Like, so it's those kind of testimonials of like the kid that couldn't skate at all, and now or the kid that came in kind of quiet, head down, shy, versus the kid that now is waving at you. Like those type of things pull at heartstrings, and that's what get the parents to respond. I always think of other pieces of content that do that, and I'm always reminded of like, you know the dog commercials? Those like nonprofit companies that save the dogs or save the animals.
Oh, dog commercials.
I thought you said doll.
The dog commercials. Those commercials. It's the same commercial we've seen since we were little kids, right? Like it's the same. They run the same thing over and over again for years. The video itself looks old. They don't care because it's bringing in millions of dollars, just pulling at people's heartstrings on. And it's showing you that they're doing something. So you see that dog before when it's skinny and struggling versus the dog running around. So that's what I'm getting at, like as far as like the type of content that will help. But that also helps with prospecting potential employees. Because
it showcase the space and all that,
especially in this space, right? In this niche. Like my wife's a social worker. When we moved out here, she had a bunch of offers from different places that she could work for. She was looking for the place that was showing what they were doing. because she knew like a lot of these nonprofits, they do a lot of talking, and there's a lot of money floating around here, but they're not actually like doing what they're trying to. So she looked for that, and she found that, and that's the company that she had ended up working for originally. So it's like that's another thing that also helps with.
Okay.
So there's some stuff to think about there.
So some of those things require quite a bit of like time to go by, right? Like you said, if it's before and after, it's months that's gonna happen, right? What other what other pieces of advice or suggestions would you have for us in this moment as we're kicking off? Like, okay, we want to start. We've not been focusing on attracting new clients. We want to now, right? I got the message of, okay, let's start some storytelling and follow some stories of some specific kids. But what else would Devin's role be doing in the meantime throughout that? Like, what other kind of content would be valuable and helpful towards that aim?
That's a good question. So like for me, what I would suggest, right, you have kind of, like curriculum. Like you have something that you're like, this for this kid specifically that comes in with these type of strongholds that you're trying to help. You have your ways of kind of beginning to improve it, right? And I'm sure it's probably by case, right? Like you check it, you basically do a evaluation and then you go, all right, this is what they need to do. Some of those things within that curriculum are really good to make content about. So it's also you helping the viewer. Because the whole thing is like, especially with social media, is authority. You want to build as much authority as you can, because with authority becomes the likeness, and then it also becomes the trust. So like your authority builds where it's like, hey parent, if your kid is struggling with fill in the blank, try this. And it could be part of what he's showing you trying with a kid that's just getting started. That way you don't have to wait the time for the before and after. Before and afters do take time. It's like right, obviously we're in real estate, right? So he's flipping a house. I gotta wait all the way through construction before I take him back to that house, right? Well, that's gonna take a couple months maybe, sometimes longer depending on the contract. You never know with contract. Well, in your case, this kid may not ever get to where you're hoping to do this big testimonial, but that progress that he's showing and you showing exactly what you're doing to hope to get there is a piece of like super valuable content that a parent could do at home. A parent could do wherever, right? So you're raising your authority in the space, because like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know I can do that, right? Like so those kind of pieces help.
Yeah, and then they trust.
Exactly. And what happens is for a viewer, especially on social media, they never forget where they learned it, right? Like you gotta think like that's what social media is now. It used to be people would go to a book to find out how to something. Now it's like TikTok is like how to like, I mean, my wife was on there on Thanksgiving, like, how do I do this dish, right? Like that's how it works now. So if you become that authority of the how to do a specific thing or how to help a specific, issue, then they're going to come to you every time.
We talked about before, like social groups, they teach a specific skill, like how to join in, right? Or how to express your feelings. You could do a series of content on how to do all the things that we teach.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. 100%. And it's also, it's one of those things too, because I believe in efficiency with any type of content. So like when I do what I do for Ryan, I don't take away from anything he's doing on a day-to-day. So like if you look at his social media, you're going to see him golfing, you're going to see him with the kids, you're going to see him talking on a podcast, you're also going to see him talking to his staff, you're going to see, because I'm looking at it like no matter what he does, I can get something out of it. So like you don't have to go create a scene for you to teach whatever that is, you're going to do it anyway. So if you got a kid that is coming in at this time and you're going to work with him on this specific thing, like I thought about that as I'm walking past the windows. Like, oh man, the kid's already in there hitting those keys. He's getting ready to give him some type of direction. Let's just record this piece and then maybe you voice over what it is and why he's doing it. So it doesn't take anything away from that moment that they're having. And it only takes you a half a second to explain it through a voiceover where you don't have to act it out or do any of that kind of stuff. So it's really efficient and really clear on like,
Yeah, and I've been kind of dabbling with that a little bit. Like one of the camp programs we had, I wasn't in the last 2 weeks, so I kind of was just taking a bunch of the shots or footage I've had stocked up and then ripped a voiceover over exactly what it was and how their kids could try to benefit from it, basically.
Yeah.
So it sounds kind of along the lines of that, but it's more pigeonholed. I like what you said, like how to and then insert blank. Right?
Exactly.
Your kid's struggling with X. Oh,
Yep.
man, give me a bunch of
because
ideas.
because you all are like I said, you guys probably haven't hit like y'all probably hit this much of the market that's actually out there that don't even know you all exist yet, right? Like there's thousands of kids in the city that's looking for a place like yours that they just don't know yet, right? And I always say to social media tells you things that you about yourself that you don't even know. Like you find out things that you needed that you didn't even know you needed until you saw it. It's just it takes that voice to do it, right? Like so it's that kind of thing. But yeah, like you got so much opportunity with what you're doing, and so and really truthfully, like I test everything. Ryan has done every format you could think of. He's vlogged, he's podcasted, he's done direct to camera talking heads. Like we've done everything to just see what works, and it changes. So you may get a video that does really well of you explaining something, and we're like, oh, I like that, but that's not really what I'm trying to do all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to do 2 more, and then we can go do something else, right? Like, let's stick to what's working. Let's maximize that as much as we can, because the other piece is think about the viewer, right? And so you'll see like, all right, I'm looking at it, and I'm gonna throw it into a program where we analyze what's happening. How can we improve it? And then we try it again, all right? And then we shift. Let's do this, and we do so many pieces, and that's another thing too. Like, I can help you understand like how to get the most out of one moment. So like him playing that keys is not only just a video of you explaining what you're trying to do with him as far as sensory, but it's also him playing the keys with just text over the top. You know what I mean? Like it's him playing the keys with text over the top, explaining who he is and his situation. And then it's a before and after of him playing a little bit before, and now he's playing. Like that's 4 or 5 pieces of content right there that you don't even, you didn't have to do a lot of work for. It's only you gonna have to do all the work, but it's like that's what we're here, right? Like that's what we're here
Like I
for.
put a ton of work in, and like coming from like a business where you guys have it all streamlined, I feel like I'm doing a lot more work than I should be.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have for you is like, so what are some of the tools that you guys use, like in terms of editing? I do everything on my phone, which probably sounds insane, but
Yeah. No, and you're in it now, so I'll give you all of this stuff too. Like I'll give you start to finish on everything that we do. But I always believe that I can get at least 5 to 6 pieces of content out of one piece.
No, that way of thinking too. Yeah,
Right? So it's like I should be like today, he's filming me right now. I should be able to get a week out of this. Right? That's how my mindset works, right? Like even right now, I could take all that footage that he just got filming your place, and I can tell people about this place. One piece of content done. I can show like kind of the walkthrough, and I talked a little bit outside before I came in. I can show that. That's another piece of content, right? I can do voiceovers of just B-roll of clips of you all. Like those are all things like I'm thinking in my mind beforehand. How do I get the most out of this? Because again, it should not take away from what you all actually are doing. What you are doing is where is the most impactful, not the social media. The social media is just going to help build upon that impact that you're already having. So it's the way I always look
What
at
about like
it.
frequency of like content and things like that? Like, do you have any advice there? Like, and like which platforms we should focus on, which ones we should not?
Our big 3 right now, I'd say, are Instagram, Facebook. We're rocking the TikTok. Sorry, I should have said 4, and then the YouTube Shorts. That's kind of been like our most successful of like all the ones I've tried. I dabbled with the Twitter for a little bit, but then that kind of just wasn't really our place. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense for the other platforms.
Yeah, no, you have the 4, right?
Yeah.
Look at it like this, because I saw the shorts. The shorts are a billboard. So always look at shorts like that, which means you only see it when you drive past it. All right? You drive past it, you think about it for a second. If you don't turn and get into that Chick-fil-A line, you on to something else tonight, right? Whereas the longer form videos gets me to spend time with you.
Okay.
So when you look at videos, like even for short form, if you look at videos where it's just text,
Yeah.
I'm spending a little time with you, but I'm not necessarily staying with you or going to look for more. Whereas a video of you talking to me and explaining something, now I'm spending time. I may have to watch it twice to fully get what you're saying. Right? So we'll have a talking video like where his vocals are there that does, 10 days of watch time in the first day. And then you'll have a text that you can't even tell how long people are on it. Right? What you care about is how long people stay. That's your conversions always. So the reason why Ryan podcasts is not because his podcast is getting millions of views. I know it's not going to get millions of views. Right? We got to get big guests in there with a lot of value for us to get a lot of views. But that's not what I care about. If I can get 2,000 views on a video and we can convert 1% of that, it's a good day. 0.5% of that is a good day, right? Like that's how I see it. And so it's the same thing, right? Like you want to make content that's going to get people to stay with you.
Yep.
So that's why I was talking about the value pieces, because the value pieces get me to come back and see what else you do.
Okay.
If I have a kid with any type of, stronghold in that way, I want to learn more from you about how you helped in this situation.
Sure.
And then if I can't do it, I'm gonna come see you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have another question for you. If you don't mind. What are some good? Because for the most part, we strictly only do short form content. We held a skate contest, and I have a big Panasonic camera that I use. That thing's starting to get pretty old, but I like the way that it looks for my skate footage, right? Not necessarily all the shit I'm trying to do here. And that was kind of the only time I ever experimented with making a video longer than 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you, what were some good ideas? Because I've always joked around like a sports social podcast where we sit down and just riff but I don't know. I was just going to ask, what are some other ideas you have for content?
Yeah. So I'll say this too, because everybody goes, when they think of long form, they always think podcasting first.
Yeah, of course, yeah. No.
And not everybody can podcast.
No, yeah.
I know everybody thinks they get a microphone and a camera.
Blog, yep.
Yeah, but it's just not, and it may not necessarily fit every business, right? Like it just doesn't fit, right? Like, but when you have a situation like this where you're helping people, there's so much value to be given. Even if you don't do a podcast, it may be something like you just did where you just walked me around talking about it, right? Like I was listening to you, but I pay more attention to how passionate you are about it, right? Like that was so natural because you've done that a million times of walking people through the facility, but I can tell how passionate you are about this growing and this becoming bigger, right? Like I can tell. That's what attracts the person you're talking to. So think about that in a video format, right? How do you, as the man behind it, get his passion displayed and for everybody, right? And that's what's most important, right? For me, like I'm gonna always use Ryan as an example because Ryan. When I go to him, my first question to him was, "What do you want to be most known for?" It originally was flipping. I want to be the biggest flipper on social media.
Houses?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, it was like he was doing couch flipping and all that. So I was like, okay, we could do that. Every flip that you get, we're going to film it. So we was going out to every single flip. We did that for 2 years straight, every single one. And it was one year where he did over 100 flips.
And you're posting every flip?
Every time.
Okay.
Now, mind you, and this is where, as a creator, you got to remember, and as a talent, you got to remember, flippers use the same materials every single house. They do the same thing every single house. Yeah. It's the same flooring, it's the same paint, it's the same. So every house looks the same. It doesn't matter. You're going to say the same thing over and over again because the way that algorithm works is how many times have you all swiped and seen the same thing? You don't. It's going to keep sending you what they think you want to see. So there's billions of people on the platform that you can reach. There's thousands of people in Las Vegas that need you right now. So we're going to keep telling people, hey, this is the greatest facility here in Vegas for this specific thing. All right. Authority. Like, I don't know of any other place that's your competition. Who would you say?
Yeah, we don't really have any competition.
So you're the number one place here for, right? Like, and you kind of stand on that and you just keep. So long form is him explaining what it is that we do here. And then it'll go from that to maybe you sit down with a parent that has had seen some success in their child, and it's like, hey, sit down with me. Let's just talk for a little bit. Quick interview.
A little bit of that.
Yep. I saw a few, but it was like if it was horizontal and I could sit with it a little bit longer, great.
For sure.
A short clip is cool, but it's so fast that it's like.
Sometimes when you see something like that, it is better to take it in.
Exactly.
And do it. And take that thing and post it on like a long form YouTube.
Yep.
And also do the short
Cut it up
on Instagram.
5-6 pieces easily.
100%. And thinking like, how you're making it long form, but at the same time, you're already thinking about how can I take this and put it into multiple.
Yeah. I mean, go back and look at Ryan's videos. We don't film short form content. We never sit down like, okay, this is going to be 4 shorts. Say this. No, we just switching it. It's all long form. Or for instance, if he's training the staff, put the camera up there. He's going to go for at least 30.
I gotta ask how many hard drives you guys go through.
Oh, we go through a ton, bro. We go through a ton of Google Drives and.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say like, the Google Drive is clutch because that's all like
It's all cloud. Yeah, we go through a lot. And at the beginning of every year, we clear out 2 years previous. So it's like, you know.
That's smart. Because even like in the last year, like, because we just started a fresh one, I'm like, how much of all this stuff was I actually like returning to and using? Because the organization is also a crazy thing. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, you'll get it all. I'm telling you, you're gonna be good. I'm gonna give you everything like down. You're gonna get a whole workflow of how to handle each thing from.
That's the missing piece of the puzzle. I feel like it's just the organization and the workflow. Because you've been saying stuff, and I feel like my brain's had it up there, but because of like the not understanding the organization tools very well, you know.
What it is too, like when you started this business, you sat down and you developed systems and processes for the business. What does onboarding look like? What does intake look like? What does offboarding look like? He has systematically had the business set up to flow so that he doesn't have to always be the one doing it, right? Like that's how you set it up, right? So when you start to hire positions, you go, okay, this is your part of the process. You come over here, this is people never do it for content. And what we did different that was different from most other creators is that he looked at the content as a business and we structured it the same way. So we have a system and process of a workflow so that I could bring anybody in on our team and go, hey, here's your responsibilities. Here's when you do it. Here are your 2-day turnarounds that we're looking for. Like, here's our core values. Here's everything. Take this, learn from this. Here's a video to show you. And then if you can't do it, you won't fit. It just won't work. But that workflow now can be implemented to anybody's.
For sure.
Yeah. So like it's going to start with the brainstorming and idea generation. Where he's not thinking of the ideas. You are.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a list of ideas. You go with a highlighter, or if it's on the computer, you highlight which ones you want to do this week. Then you begin to start the process of where you're going to film it. You look at his schedule, go, what time can we film it? If you got, you're going to be dealing with other people outside of it too. So, hey, he doesn't have to call the parent. You call the parent. Hey, are you going to be in or that? We would love to film a video with you. Like, these are all these things that you start to systemize. And so it's like, okay, then you create KPIs for them. So when I started, I was paid based on growth. So it's like my bonus didn't come unless I got this many new followers, unless I got this many views, right? Like, and then it shifted where he was like, no, let's track how many leads we're generating. All right. So then we started doing that. So things are going to shift as you go. Yeah. But you can give him goals to set himself a, hey, maybe it's just you call this many people a week for short interviews.
Sure.
Maybe you do it. And that's how you kind of snowball
Outreach
into
to 3 local companies for collab videos, which these are all things we're kind of doing, but it's all like, they're not so like that cleanliness you were just describing to me.
Or even people commenting, right? Like people that comment on your current content. You know, how many are we doing outreach on those people to see if they have anybody that would be interested in being a part?
Yeah.
See, I mean, like Ryan has hired most of his staff from his Instagram. He hired me from Instagram.
Yeah.
He posted like I was looking for a podcast editor, and I wrote him on Instagram. I was like, "Don't worry about looking for a podcast anymore. You found one." That was it. And then I reached out to somebody that knew him. Was like, "Hey, let him know I sent him because I knew you weren't gonna see it. I'm like, make sure I let him know to open that, and my information's in there. I got him." We met, we talked for an hour and a half, never talked about the job. We talked about family and faith, and I knew I was in right away. He goes, how much do you want to make? And I told him a number that was like a little more than what I was making currently. And he said, yeah, so fast I knew I messed up. I was like, dang, I screwed myself in that. But it was all off Instagram. And then all the guys that I hired are all off, either through the church or from Instagram.
So, Justin, before Ryan, do you have any experience with real estate at all?
No.
Didn't matter, did it?
Nope.
Because what you wanted, what you could see and you needed, doesn't matter what it is. It's a formula.
No. The best type of person to hire to be backing you on the content is someone that's going to be willing to buy into what you're doing. So like, I knew going into it, I'm learning real estate. I've probably had more real estate hours than anybody in this program. I've done every course. I've done every, I can tell you, I've never done a real estate transaction myself, but I can tell you everything that you need to do for it, right? But I was just buying into what he was passionate about, right? So your creator has to buy in because he's got to want to see it grow just as much as you do.
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like
Spend
the
my
worst thing to
life
do,
here.
yeah. Because the worst thing for me would be just going for a check. That would be the worst experience. I wouldn't care. Like I would be like, all right, I did the videos, bro. Like, what do you want?
So, before Ryan, what sort of spaces were you working? Like, what kind of?
As far as video production, had no plans on video production. It was a side hustle. So I played ball in college, and you know how college goes. You get summertime, you get electives, and that's just to make sure that you're eligible to play during the season.
Video.
And it's all garbage courses. Like I had a choice between pottery and photography, and it was like, okay, you got photography where I go take pictures of the girls on campus, and then you had pottery that was like playing with dirt. And what are we doing? So it was a no-brainer, and I did that. And then the professor was like, "Oh, you kind of got an eye for this." And then maybe a couple weeks into that summer semester, a few people had asked me to take photos for them, and then somebody had asked me to take photos for their wedding. And then I charged them like $300 for a full day wedding. It was insane. I was there all day and then had to go work all night. And I was like, dang, I undercharged it. And so it began to teach me business too. It was like, wait a minute, your time, you can't pay for time and product out of that 300. What are you doing? So it started to show me that. And then there was a point where I was filming 2 or 3 weddings a weekend, and that's how the business grew. So when I was in Chicago. When I moved out to Vegas, I was like freelancing here and there because I didn't know anybody. I just moved out here because I knew there would be opportunity and it wasn't cold. And so I came out here and I was like, all right, I'm just freelancing for people. And then again, he posted, and I knew a friend that had consulted him, and I was like, hey, check it out. I want to do that if he's available. So it was just that quick. I had done a little job, so I had like filmed for like Teen Mom a little bit in LA, did some stuff like that.
That's cool.
Just opportunity. No, it ain't. It's not cool. But like it was exposure to different things, right? Like I didn't have to be passionate about Teen Mom to go see how production was ran. So and even today, like that helped me understand how to do his events, Ryan's events, and how to film live for things, right? Like I got to see it even though I was just a man in a camera. Like
What's your role now with Ryan?
so now I'm director of media, which runs the entire socials. So no video goes out without me seeing it. And then I produce any event that he has. So he does the WealthCon, which is 1,000 person. He does the Kingdom Nights, Kingdom Summit, all those things. And then I travel. Anytime you see him like out of town or something like that, that's me usually filming still. Podcast producing. So it's like I go give him a list of some questions sometime. He usually never listens, like he never cares about that, but I still do my part. Cause Ryan's he's free. So he's gonna do whatever. He'll be like, yeah, we can talk about that. And then he'll get there and talk about something totally different.
And
But
it's that same way, but it's good. I've done that before.
I love it.
Good to feed his ideas or
Yep.
give him some food for thought.
Yep.
You know?
yeah. And it covers you too.
When I
So
was running ads, so I know, so you guys are a national company, right? That your target is anyone, right? For us, our target is in the city, right? So we're creating creative content, organic content, and then content that works well. We're targeting and running ads in this city. Is that the process? Generally speaking?
yeah, I mean, it doesn't like the content itself. Like I always say, there's good content and then there's everybody else. So all you have to do is make sure you're making good content. The ad actually targeting, like if you're actually paying for ads, you can target specific to what you want anyway, but the content has to be good,
Sure.
right?
Do
And
you
so
guys-
that's.
do you run those ads, and do you like? could
I
you
don't
provide
run.
us with guidance
I can help you.
on
I can get you
those?
guidance on them
Okay.
from our team.
Yeah.
I'm not the one pressing the button.
Okay, there's somebody
But I
else
can
that
get you
does that
exactly,
specific thing. Okay.
exactly. We create all of the content for it, and then because it'd be too much to try to do content with Ryan and everything else and try to run it. But it's specific, like running that. But truthfully, the first 2.5 years, he didn't do any paid. It was all organic.
Same.
And
Yeah,
we-
we just recently,
and
like,
we
last
saw-
year started running ads.
Yeah, and you have to do a combination of both.
Yeah.
So like Ryan tried to go all in on paid, and it just didn't work the same. And now we're doing a combination of both organic and paid, because your organic stays with you no matter what. Like that's the difference between the organic and the paid. The paid come when they will support when they see that it's going to benefit them. But if not every product benefits them, then they're just not going to support. Whereas the organic, I mean, we got people in the program that have bought every product. And you're talking about the largest product being $30K a year to the smallest product being $2K a month. Right? Like they've done everything. because they're just they're tied. Like I always use the Kardashians as an example of that. You never hear anybody talk about how great their products are. They're just totally bought in on the brand. It's like, I don't care what she puts out, I'm gonna get it. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Devin's one-man show, right? Like, so do you have any other like, recommendations or ideas? Like, is that feasible for him to be able to do, to shoot and edit, and like, does he need, like he said, do I need any other tools?
Yeah.
I think you said you're gonna provide us like,
I'll get him
with
some
to provide
resources for that stuff. But yeah, I think now, yes. I don't think it will always be like that though, because there's also burnout for somebody that's doing everything, and when I can even help you with that too. So like if you need sourcing for like editing or something like that, because there may be a time where once you start to see the benefit of it, usually you need to double down on it, and that means he's going to spend more time actually filming and coming up with the creative than he is editing. Editing is the most tedious thing.
That's how you see it breaking off.
Editing is the most, I feel you, bro.
It's the most tedious thing.
100%.
Yeah. And one thing that Ryan has taught me from being with him is that I shouldn't be taking it all home at the end of the night. And as an editor, coming from the editor space, I know how that works, where it's like, all right, I'm doing all this during the day. It's really difficult to be left alone to edit and focus when you're in an office space. So I take it home and I'm up all night.
I'm the same way. I'm like,
Right.
my favorite hours of work are 8 to 2,
Yep.
8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah, but you can't be creative like that. Your mind won't.
So what are your recommendations for something like that, right? Like, as just like you said, I think we've seen, although maybe our social media is not to where you think it could be, for us, we've seen a lot of success in what he's done over this past year. And the reason we've brought you here today is this is us doubling down.
You're ready to,
right?
yep.
And giving him more of a role in this company, more hours to do that, and with your guidance.
Yeah.
So, like, is it something that he should be doing those editing hours, like, from home? Like, we talked a little bit about, like, is this something he does here at the office versus at home?
Yeah.
Trying to build him, like, a schedule, though, too, because it's, like, I feel like he's kind of, like, always working, and
Yeah, that's what it-
suggestions for, like, that type of thing, where it's, like...
Yeah, that's what I want to do with you though. For me to answer that like well, I'd like to see what your schedule currently looks like. Because a lot of times too, we think we're busy, right? Like, that's just how it goes, right? And then I can pick holes at what you're doing hour to hour in a whole 8-hour span that you're here, right? And then you'll see that it doesn't feel like you're getting more work. Because a lot of people be like, man, you're just giving me more. I was like, it's not gonna feel like that. It's gonna actually feel like you have more time.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, because there will be Fridays where I'm in here, and like you said, there can be the burnout, it can be tough to feel creative, and I'm like, I go and I punch out because I'm like, dude, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like that,
I get it. But once I see it, and then we kind of break down what that schedule kind of can look like, then you start implementing the systems and processes that go with it, and then you fill in where you will need the piece. So, for instance, it was just me and 2 other guys originally. I was doing all of the podcast stuff, and the other 2 guys were doing all of like the talking head and dynamic videos on YouTube. And then one of them left, so it was just 2 of us. We immediately was like, no, this ain't gonna work, because we were putting out 6 long form videos a week, and we were doing 6 shorts a day, right? But we were there all night, and so it was like, this ain't we can't sustain this. So when we went to Ryan, he was like, okay, give me all of the roles that are in a production company. Right, and I was like, okay, here we go. You got director, producer, editor, shooter. We just went down the list of everything. Then we go, okay, what do we need out of this list for us right now? And so we circled the ones that we needed right now, and then we filled in those gaps. And then everything that was left there that we didn't need immediately, we all just kind of divided up the responsibilities. So for instance, right now, like this is why I say, like right now, I think he's okay. You got to go through that calendar first, and then go, okay, here's how much time I'm spending here. Here's how much time I'm putting here. How do I divide? Okay, this person maybe. So it may just be you outsource the editing, which I also can help you with. It's like, hey, let's just send Justin this amount of videos every week. He'll get them edited. They get sent back, and now you're done. All you have to do is post them at that point, right? Like, so there's different ways of doing it. Or it may be, no, we want to go like next level. And we got everything else, all our processes and our systems are set. It's time to hire an in-house editor, right? And now, so like, it's going to be different based on, I can't answer it straight, direct, but like.
There's more time that we spend together.
Yeah, I'll definitely be able to pick holes that like, because like I said, people be busy and doing nothing. right? Like you want to be busy, but the right kind of busy, right? So it's that kind of thing. I try not to waste any hour, right? Like, and we still get to laugh and joke in the office, but like I try not to waste time. So it's like if you can't talk to me and work at the same time, then we need to be in a different office. We don't need to be in the same office, right? Like if you can't do, it's that kind of thing because again, I don't want you to take it home. I don't want you to work at home. Ryan's wealthy way is 9 to 5 and no weekends. That's his wealthy way, all right? Now Ryan's still gonna call me and he's still gonna text me, but at least I don't have to run to a computer to go edit something. It's that kind of thing. Right now, everything that we do, we release 4 shorts a day. We release 4 long forms a week. And we do that on every platform. The only platforms we don't touch is Snapchat and Pinterest. And we do all of that with 4 people.
That's a lot, yeah.
So and nobody's overworked. They all got side jobs and shooting other stuff. They all edit for other people too. So it's like, it's not like it's so like.
You guys have got it figured out. So
it's just
you guys can
systemized.
manage it, you know?
Yeah.
That's the big piece. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of weeks where I just like I'm doing my best to manage it, but like internally I'm losing it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do you have a calendar?
I have a calendar in my house. Yeah, like a big one like this.
No, on your phone.
I have my note, like the calendar. That comes
Yeah.
with my iPhone. Yeah.
Does it look like that calendar?
Depends on the month.
Yeah, see, there's stuff, that's what I mean. Like, there's stuff like now, like if I showed you mine, I don't even have one of those because I'm never still enough to even to work off of one of those. But I'll just show y'all an example, right? And this is really for you because this is going to help you for sure. This is January's calendar. All right?
Is that the same one you use, Andrew?
It's a Google Calendar.
Oh, Google Calendar. Okay.
All right. And the reason why we use Google is because it's tied to the emails as well. So like every time Ryan adds something to his calendar, it also comes to mine. So that way you know, like, oh, so if I need to film with Ryan, I can schedule it on his calendar.
You don't even have to talk about it.
We don't got, yeah.
Yeah, I can add you to our team up calendar, and you would have access to mine, and I would have access to yours.
That'd be great too,
That
because
would
then I
be
can start
easy.
hitting you with like, yo, we need to shoot this at this time.
Yeah, and I put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
It's in, yeah.
And he may be doing things that he would be doing normally
That would
be
out.
good to film. And you don't even know because you're not seeing it.
Like the podcast that came through, I would have thought about that way differently after this meeting. Kind of thing,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's cool.
There's 4 of you who run it.
Mhm.
Obviously, Ryan's separate.
Yep.
4.
Yep, I got 3 people underneath me that work in office with me.
And you produce 5 long reels a week.
We do
No, 5 shorts a day and 4 long reels a week.
mhm.
7, are your shorts 7 days a week or 5 days a week?
7.
And your long is the 4 covers?
Yeah, 4 days a week, yeah. We switch it up based on whether or not I want to do any revisions, but yeah, it's 4 days a week. Yeah, it's streamlined. And like I said, none of us, like, I don't claim to be the best editor or the best, like, I don't claim that. It's just systemized so that
And when it's already when
functional.
the messaging and the person, like you said, that value's already there, and you have it kind of semi down. They don't have to be the most polished things ever. We're always talking about this, about like sometimes it's really important. Just we know it's good. Let's get it out there, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, this morning, I can show y'all a text message from Ryan this morning. He's like, what text number, because we put a text me number on the video just to get leads to that number. And he was like, what number is this? I don't recognize this number. So I read it and I'm leaving the gym. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't recognize the number? So now I'm going to the video, like, I hope we didn't put the wrong number on there. And then I'm like, no, that's the right number. And I text him back. I was like, Ryan, that's the right number. What are you talking about? He goes, oh, I just don't recognize it. I text back, you can't send stuff like that, right?
Yeah, you can't be
Like, but my point is like, you have to kind of be bought in, right? Like, I knew something that he didn't even know about it, right? Like, I'm talking to the marketing department, like, hey, where are your automations going? What number are you sending them to? Let me have that so that we can put it on the YouTube video. So it's like,
we worked similarly.
Yeah,
Like,
so
when we started, it was like, you check and make sure, does this look all good, Dad? And now it's like I have more confidence too, to just like, I know this looks good. I'm putting it up. I know he'd be happy with it.
early on, though, we've had misspelled words on the text, on the videos.
Everything.
We still putting it out, like, I invite the comment that says you spelled something wrong, because the algorithm don't know if it's a good or bad comment.
Yeah, I'm engaged with it. Yeah.
It's just engagement. Yeah. So it's like we don't do it often, but there's times where it like slips through, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
sorry.
We're humans.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting out 5 a week and 6 a day. So it's like, yo, what do you want me to do here?
Those numbers are insane.
But,
I'd
yeah.
love to be half those in
Yeah.
a few months' time.
Yeah.
You know?
And you'll see everybody at the office too. Like once you go, you'll see like how it's functioning.
You guys
Like
have a whole office space for just the
So he-
marketing and social media.
so the
or just
media.
all it-
So just it's me. So what you'll see is upstairs. You'll see all of the business operations as far as the real estate. You see a sales floor and the cold callers and all the people up there. And then downstairs, you'll see it used to look exactly like the upstairs with cubicles and that type of space. But we ripped all those cubicles out, put up some walls. You're probably gonna get in trouble at the end of the lease, but put up some walls and LED screen, a stage, and we turned that into like our event space.
Okay.
So now when we host events there, it just pays for the lease for being there, and whatever profit comes from that. But then there's a couple studios back there, a couple podcast studios, and then there's also
Like a whole Hollywood
some
studio.
offices.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
cool. How many
So
people
it's
are
just
in the
fun.
company total?
Ooh, probably 100,
Okay.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe less.
But the driver of the business
Mm-hmm.
is run by 4 of you.
Like I don't want to say the driver, but it's Ryan. Ryan is the driver of the business. On the social end and the media side, yeah, it's just 4 guys.
I mean, if the 4 of you didn't exist,
Yeah, they'll have
it'd
some
be a lot
problems.
smaller business.
Yeah. They'll have some issues. I mean, I'm never gonna say I can't be replaced, but they'd have some trouble with efficiency for sure.
Yeah.
At the very least, you know. But that's one thing too that Ryan's really good at. Like I said, he draws up a business plan and he's promoting it the next week because he knows that he's following the same system, same process for every business. It's just I'm gonna now implement it here, which is exactly what we did for the content. So it worked out well. Yeah, and you'll get all that.
You have any other questions? And I think just like, what are the next steps, I guess, from here?
No, I have to run, but I can't. It's tremendous.
Oh no, I appreciate it.
No, we're
Thank you,
excited.
thank you.
I appreciate you.
No, we're gonna have some fun, man. This is the fun part of the business, though, for sure.
Jack, I'll see you soon. Sorry, my hands a little sweaty.
Yeah.
Okay, there.
Absolutely, pleasure, man.
These are just next steps. You know?
Planning our our next meeting.
Get together at your space probably.
Yeah, come over, see everything. We can even do the session there, and then that's where I'll show you our complete system and process and
Okay.
develop it. There'll be stuff like we project manage through Asana. Google Drive is like our backup.
Was that a software that you just said?
Asana, yeah. So have you heard of Monday?
No.
Okay, so like Asana is just a project manager. So like, and I can show you a little bit now because I have it here, but
So like down to each of the reels that you're gonna run each day or run as a project?
That's insane.
so it's gonna show a bunch of ones that we
the
already
summer right now is
completed.
called my brain.
Yeah, no, I could never do that. I'd lose
I've been
everything.
doing that for like 4 years now, but I would say this last year in particular, it's like I've been trying to replicate or streamline the way that you guys do as a one-man band. Captions, videos, editing, all the shots, you name it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I'll help you with is because there's a system to that as
Yeah,
well.
100.
Like you got to kind of reverse engineer things when you want them to go a certain way. So in Asana, I can see what episode is there. I can see who's working on it. You know, they tell me if it started or not. So they change those tasks as they go.
So tomorrow,
Fresh and Fit will come
has
out.
to do this, and it says description, thumb,
Yep.
title.
And it looks like he just put a link there for the edited versions of it. He just hasn't changed it to done. But if I open that up, I have the full episode. I have a thumbnail for it, right? Like it's already
Wow, yeah.
set. So now as the project manager to publish everything, I just download it
That's
now.
the fun part. That's like my favorite part.
Yeah.
Kinda. It can be a little
Yeah,
annoying.
because I revise it here, and then in Asana, if I need revisions, I just type the revisions out, tag him in it again, because he'll tag me once he's complete. I tag it back to him, he'll fix it, tag me when it's done, and we get it going.
Son?
So it's just a process. So like that way you can see everything too what he's working on, right? And I'll go like if I haven't seen something move in a week, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why are we not working on? And we do the same thing for the shorts. So the shorts will, me and it's actually his brother Austin, who's the lead videographer, will go through and go, all right, timing wise, what needs to come out at a certain time. So for instance, let's say you're hosting an event here, where you're just opening it up to everybody. Hey, this is an open house. Just come see our facility, right? And you're producing this as an event, which means it needs a schedule. Open house starts here. I'm going to speak at this point. Such and such is going to do a tour at this point. We're going to end the day with some type of offer for people to come, whatever your offer is. You are like, okay, that means I need a shooter here. I need to be filming this. I need to plan to get this many reels out of that moment, right? But to get people ready for that, you're going to have to film the whole facility and show things and get a video out that's going to make sense to let people know it's happening. Yeah. Well, that is all going to be in the project manager. And the description of that project is going to tell you how you want this to look. So you all are collabing to make sure that it looks a certain way. So right before I came here, we had a meeting with Ryan because he texted in our group. I'll read it to you word for word. It says, so Levi's another one of our students who does master classes just like Ryan does. So because Levi's master class had a really good 2-minute video that started playing exactly at the webinar time that gave credibility. So what he's referring to is when that webinar cuts on, say you're attending the webinar, it cuts on, it's just a Zoom, but it cuts on and there's a video playing that's giving credibility to who he is. Okay. So it was other people talking about him, it was that kind of stuff, right? It was every time he was on stage, it was showing it, testimonials from your parents, stuff like that. Right, and that's what's playing as a 2-minute countdown is happening before the webinar started.
That was cool. That's crazy.
All right, so it's almost like an intro video when you're coming out, right? Like that kind of thing. I always look at it like sports. Yeah. All right, the starting lineup. Yeah. This is the starting lineup to show, right? Everybody's dunks and stuff is on the starting lineup. Everybody's catches are on the lineup. So here we go. So then it goes. I'm gonna send it to you, but we need to create something like that. I would probably do something similar as the WealthCon videos. WealthCon is just our big event. So I go for sure, send it over. I watched the video, and then he goes, it needs to be, here it is. Then he goes, I want to talk about this more. So we went upstairs and we having a meeting. I watched the video and I go, okay, I start naming the people that said something about Ryan that I know I could use in this video. And that's all we're doing is we're snowballing the idea so that we can begin to think. I got the editor sitting over here. I got the lead videographer sitting over here. I want them to be there because I want them to know, in their minds, they've already seen the footage. So it's like, I know what parts I'm going to pull, all right? All that footage that you got that you ain't used yet, in your mind, you're like, all right, I know I got a clip of that. I'm going to use that. It's that kind of thing while we're talking through what it's going to look like. I also voice memo the meeting so that I can then put it all in Asana under the project task. That way, nobody forgets it. And now we have a kind of workflow. Now he can go work on that video the day before and he'll get it done because it's all right there. It's perfectly set.
Everything he needs to make the vision happen. Where it's like sometimes you're like those things.
Yeah. What did he say?
Yeah.
He said he wanted, and it's like you've already done 10 other things after that, so it's hard to remember that. But now it's like
a mug too, bro.
Yeah, most creators do. Most creators struggle with that. Yeah.
Guy, he's like, I gotta start the laundry.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. I forgot to take the trash out.
Yep, that's how it is. You're gonna see our editors are in there with the lights off, like, because that's how we work. Like we work in the middle of the night trying to get things done. So it's like that's the set, that's the dynamic, right? Yeah. But yeah, this will help. So Asana's a big start to like how you all can collaborate without taking the time.
You were gonna mention another one, but I was really happy you took a second to just explain.
The other Monday's really similar to Asana.
Monday.
I always suggest Asana though, because it's just really user friendly. Like I said, I just pulled it up on my phone just like that. Like I can see everything right there. So. Monday's really similar, but Asana for us has been the greatest thing. And you put everything in there. You can put your Google links in there. Everything goes in there. And as an owner of that project, you see whenever anything changes. So like there's time where my phone will go off at 3 o'clock in the morning because the editor is up changing a project task.
Okay, cool. Some good suggestions.
One start to that. So you get Google Drive, you get Asana. I'll give you AIs and also the prompts that we use. I'll be in the meantime be thinking of some prompts that will be perfect for this specific thing, but you'll see how that helps tremendously.
Should we do anything in the meantime between our meetings we see you next? Or should we try out some of the suggestions that you mentioned here?
Yeah, I would try to start the planning process of who you would get, what parents you would get to do some interaction. Like start that process because once you got this, it's go. Like because what'll happen is, and this is what I love with that question is because a lot of people we have these interactions and then it's like the next one they haven't done anything. So it's like, this is perfect. This is a perfect time to start writing out, put in a doc, everything that, like, all the people that you want to talk to, start brainstorming ideas, test out some prompts in like Chat GPT of like ideas. And what you do is you train the chat to understand what this business is.
Oh, I've been doing it. Oh, yes.
So once chat learns it, you can prompt it to whatever answer you want.
100.
Almost every other day I go, who is Ryan Pineda on Chat GPT?
I asked it who Andrew Devitt was. I've done that
And I
before.
just wanted to see how it changes.
We're all way
And I
more
want to
like-
see how it changes as we do more content.
Yep.
So there was a point where it was all about flipping and all about real estate. And there was another point where it was broader, started to show more business. And now I'm seeing more about, with that, it's also showing me things about Kingdom and all of the faith-based, nonprofit that he's doing. So
That's really cool. Because I've been doing
build
that,
on
just
it.
watching it change, and it's like learning. It's a crazy tool, man. No, for sure. A lot
No.
of people are hating on it, but I mean, it's all about how you use it.
you better get used to it.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming.
You better get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's especially on the creative side. I'm never worried about like my job being replaced by it
Yeah.
because I'm gonna be the best one using it.
100%.
Like,
And at
it's
the
like
end of the
anything
day,
else.
too, it's like,
They were scared of the internet too back then, back in the day. So yeah. It came no matter what. It was like, so it's one of those things. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would start with shifting the mindset of just show and tell, and more telling too. So like I said, I went through the socials, and a lot of it I can see it, but nothing said that these were kids with autism or other sense like that. Nothing said that specifically.
Right.
So when I was looking at it, the first thing I asked Ryan, I was like, is he trying to appeal to like every kid, or is he trying to be
the answer was yes for a
specific?
while. Yeah,
and that's what
yeah.
Ryan was like, looking at this, you would know. And I was like, okay. And he didn't want to give me the clear answer because he wanted me to come talk to you. But I was like, okay,
I think the
it told me what I need to
the
know.
big thing we were avoiding, but it honestly, now that we've talked about it even more, it makes the most sense. But like, I feel like we were scared of like someone saying, like, I don't want to go there. That's where kids with special needs go. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like that's such that market. One, they're already underserved and they don't get enough services to begin with. But it's like, nah, let's try it out. I mean, there's no harm in just seeing how it goes either.
Yeah, and here's a fact about human beings, especially on social media. A comment like that specifically, that individual was never going to support you anyway.
Yeah, true.
Doesn't matter,
True.
right? The person that's like, I don't want to go over there, that person was never coming anyway.
You already know.
So you're not even like those. I don't even like. There'll be people on Ryan's. It's like he's such a scammer. I was like, and then if I went, hey, do you do real estate? He goes, no. Why are you here?
Exactly. But most of the time,
There's nothing for
a
you.
mile away. Yeah. Exactly.
There's nothing for you here. So of course you feel that way, right? And it may be a thing, like right.
That
You all
authority
may niche down and hit that market heavier, and then you may host events for everyone. All right, like it may be that kind of like you don't know where it's going to kind of expand to, but I do believe that like there's like I said, there's no competition. So if you can sew up the competition to it being, I mean, it's a win.
Our competitions look like the doctor's offices.
Exactly.
We try to like
Yeah.
help those people.
Yeah, it's therapy.
Respectively.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I would start. I would just start planning for, kind of leaning into that side of what it is that you all do.
And it's real. It's honestly just being real too at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nothing like a happy story.
Nothing.
So
No, I agree.
the better you get at storytelling, the more progress you'll see faster. So that's a big part of it.
All right, yeah. So some brainstorming, some planning for Davin and I, and then a meeting with
Yep.
the three of us, and Jack may
Yep.
come to that one.
Yeah.
We'll come to your office for
Yeah.
that.
And you have my number, so like, whatever you want to do. Next week we do have an event. So you all are free to stop by, and if you just want to see what it looks like at that point, I won't be able to kind of sit with you like that, but if you just want to see it, it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Cool. You can kind of get a sense of how everything works too. I feel
Yeah.
like when one of those are going on.
Yeah, but
We could schedule a meeting maybe
the week after.
following that. Yeah, week after that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. Do it
Yep.
some other time next
Yep.
week to. I think it'd be cool. We did some brainstorming, some planning, and at least just try one or two of the videos
Yeah.
that he's kind of talking about, so you
Yeah.
can give us a little bit of like,
yeah,
nah,
And-
you were totally off here, or yeah, that was in the line of what I'm thinking.
yeah,
So is
and
that okay?
and yeah, and you can get get my phone number. Even if you just want to send a raw version of whatever you all create, like I'm always gonna answer. So it's like, feel free. Like that's, you know, I'm in it with you all, so I definitely want to do that.
No, I appreciate that. Justin.
No, absolutely.
For real, definitely.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you for
Appreciate the
coming out,
time.
man. Thank you. Nice to meet you.